You know, when you check your comments, sometimes you get new comments on videos you've done in the past, and one of the comments that I've been getting lately, or several comments I've been getting lately on a video, is what I did for the Scooby-Doo 50th anniversary, and that was on Shaggy and Daphne. And I know I've talked about this ship a lot, but I think it's, it bears repeating, I should say. I mean, when you look at these two characters, we all know that initially, when Scooby-Doo started, way back in 1969, there was pretty much concrete, if you will, that Fred and Daphne were meant to be a couple. Basically, very, concrete at that time, and along with it, you had hints of Shaggy with Velma. So it was kind of a status quo, for the time being. But over time, especially if you look up a lot of information, when it comes to Fred and Daphne's relationship, in later shows, it seems to have died down from that. You would have them paired off in dance contests or just dancing to music and all that, and that's completely fine. That's completely fine. But the thing is, it basically died down, a lot more than it was initially seen in the original Where Are You series. And over time, like I said, we would see it in more shows as well. We would kind of see it at times in new Scooby-Doo movies. We'd see it in the Scooby-Doo show, what have you. But what really, I think, set a lot of fans in the direction of Shaggy and Daphne being an item and being more preferable of an item over Fred and Daphne was the all-new Scooby-Doo Scrappy-Doo show, and then the following seasons of New Scooby-Doo Mysteries and the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo. Those shows between 83 and 87 were the ones that I believe really firmly established the Shaggy-Daphne ship. And even to this day, fans prefer Shaggy and Daphne over Fred and Daphne, even though they know and understand that in the live-action movies, that actually debuted 20 years ago, believe it or not, this year, as well as in the series that followed, like What's New Scooby-Doo, Mystery Incorporated, some of the direct-to-video films. It was pretty much still kind of established that Fred and Daphne were an item. They were a couple. But over time, as I've talked about before, and others have pointed out, Daphne and Shaggy seems to have been more, I guess you could say, hinted at becoming a reality again, or at least being teased a bit here and there. We see it in the direct-to-video animated film of the vampire, the music of the vampire, or something like that. We see it at the beginning, where Daphne pops through the sunroof along with Shaggy and Scooby and sings with them. We see it in Legend of the Phantasaur, where she's willing to help Shaggy, and such. We see all these different, other clues and Easter eggs and hints throughout other direct-to-video films, especially, I guess you could say, the Curse of the 13 Ghosts, the movie follow-up and finale to the original series, depending on how you feel about that, and so on and so forth, afterwards, like the Halloween one that came afterwards, Zombie Island, or Return to Zombie Island, what have you. But then you also have Be Cool Scooby-Doo, which, again, depending on how you feel about it, had some moments in there and did have a Daphne that felt more like she could have been basically set up to be with Shaggy. There's even an episode where she pretends to be Shaggy's girlfriend to impress Shaggy's parents, so that Shaggy can impress his parents, I guess, or something like that. And there's also, of course, going back to Mystery Incorporated, there's that scene, where they make out, unbeknownst to the other, of who's who, because they're both drugged up. But still, when I look at all these moments and such, and I'm guessing, because I haven't really checked the show out myself, but I'm assuming that Scooby-Doo Guess Who probably touched upon it too. Again, I haven't seen it yet, but I should check it out. It is Scooby-Doo, and it is an homage to the new Scooby-Doo movies. So I should check it out and see what it's about. But even if it has something there that hints at it, Easter eggs it, if you will, and who knows if they'll touch upon it in the new VENMO series. I doubt they will, but who knows. It just feels like the more time goes on, the more, in my opinion, fans want to see this happen more so than they ever have. I mean, I almost feel incensed. That basically, the fan base, part of the fan base that supported Fred and Daphne, and still do to an extent, are kind of starting to see why fans support Shaggy and Daphne. I think they're starting to side a little bit with that side of the fandom. But again, that's just my theory. That's just my point of view, and mere speculation. But again, I think if you look at the fan base in a way, you're starting to see them turn in that direction, just slightly, but not much. And who knows basically what the end result will be in the near future, now that Warner Brothers has some new bosses, the new people in charge. It sounds like these new people like David Zaslav and Kathleen Finch and a few others are willing to listen to the people, listen to the fans. Who's to say maybe this new regime at Warner Brothers Discovery will maybe influence a decision to be like, okay, let's go with Shaggy and Daphne and see what happens. I'm not saying they will, but it is something to kind of think about. It is, something to really think about. And remember, this is a Scooby-Doo franchise that back in the freaking 70s with the Scooby-Doo show, because I think that was the episode, the Scooby-Doo show, that basically hinted at incense, if you will, between Scooby, Scooby-Dum, and Scooby-Dee. And even did that later on in what was it, the all-new Scooby-Doo, Scrappy-Doo show, in the 11-minute short Showboat Scooby with Daisy Doo. I mean, seriously, I would not put anything past them, honestly. So the way I look at it, I could see the fan base kind of turning a lot more in favor of at least giving Shaggy and Daphne, the ship here, a chance, and potentially maybe influencing the people at Warner Discovery to, especially those in the animation division, to, give it a chance as well down the line. But again, I stick by the fact that I believe that this whole popularity and support of the Shaggy Daphne thing started back in 1983 with the all-new Scooby-Doo, Scrappy-Doo show, which evolved in the following seasons to New Scooby-Doo Mysteries and 13 Ghosts. So to me, if you want to pinpoint a time, besides little hints and stuff here and there in the shows prior, back in the 70s, I think if you pinpoint one precise moment, it would be 1983 in the all-new Scooby-Doo, Scrappy-Doo show. Because as I've mentioned before, they could have brought in anybody else to fill the shoes that Daphne filled, but they chose Daphne, and for reasons, in my opinion, for reasons that they wanted to explore, they came close to doing, But then they went in an entirely different direction with a pup named Scooby-Doo back, in 1987, 1988. But yeah, I think if you if you pinpoint and look at one specific moment in time, honestly, it's 1983 with all new Scooby-Doo, Scrappy-Doo show, and the following years with new Scooby-Doo Mysteries and 13 Ghosts. That is when, that time frame, between 83 and 87, in my opinion, is when this all began. The whole support, basically the foundation and the support for that foundation to be built upon and built upon and built upon for Shaggy Daphne shipping and romance, that's when it began. But what do you guys think? Do you agree with me on that part? Or do you think I'm grasping for straws? Let me know in the comment section below, as well as in the live chat during the premiere, where super chats and super stickers will be open and appreciated. And as always, as well as the super thanks will be enabled after the premiere. Also check me out at VENMO at Brian-Wilmer-2, and at Cash App at BWRoses98, Patreon.com at BWRoses, TikTok at BWRoses, and check out my Teespring store as well. But yeah, guys, I just wanted to come on here and give you my opinion of when I truly believe, from a pinpoint accuracy, of when the whole support for Shaggy and Daphne began. And it began in 1983, between 1983, I should say, and 1987.